ECAT's production of OA Sports are provided by Morse Insurance, Weinstein & Keach, we sell real estate, Michael Associates, Ltd., the Easton Lions Club. ECAT would like to thank all the sponsors for support of producing OA Sports.
We are live from the very windy corner of Park Street and Sheridan, and this is Oliver Ames Baseball on Easton Community Access Television. Hello, Tiger fans. I'm Adam Rivero, back with the call for this Davenport Division showdown between your Oliver Ames Tigers and the visiting Foxboro Warriors. The lineup cards have just been exchanged. The managers have shaken hands, and we're about ready for baseball here at Frothingham Park. We'll give you the lineups in between, mid-inning rather, here in just a little bit. But in the meantime, we are glad to be back with you. Last broadcast was on Saturday with a huge signature win by the Tigers against the Dighton Rehoboth Falcons. A 10-inning affair, extra innings, with a walk-off run by Jack Giovanello to end the game. Absolutely incredible game, and if you have a chance to go back into the archives and watch even just the end of that matchup, you do yourself well. It's 3.5 hours, so I don't know if you'll be able to watch the whole thing because we were out here for quite a while, but it was worth it for Tigers fans as OA walked it off. And I do need to mention before we get too deep into the broadcast, at the end of the game, I actually made the call that a different hitter had actually made the game-winning hit. I had mentioned that it was Jaden Levine, but it was actually Jack Giovanello who went 4 for 6 on the afternoon, so my apologies to him and to his family in the exuberance of the moment as Jaden and I, who was Jaden doing color commentary on Saturday with me, in our exuberance mentioned the wrong person who had the game-winning hit. But absolutely phenomenal afternoon for the Tigers, and OA is looking to build on what took place on Saturday. Foxboro comes into town with a 1-1 record, same as the Tigers. And again, similar positions. You're at the beginning of the year. You're trying to feel out who's on your squad, who you have. And both OA and Foxboro have graduated quite a few seniors. And so the Warriors are looking to find their way just as much as the Tigers are. However, if you're a Tiger fan, you have to be encouraged by what you saw on Saturday. A lot of grittiness from this team, up by 3, then allowed a 5-run 5th inning. However, stayed firm, stuck with it, and worked their way out of several different jams, and then pulled out the win in the 10th inning. Well, we're ready to begin an afternoon of baseball here at Worcester Field. Thank you again for joining us, whether you're watching later on YouTube, whether you're watching live on one of our ECAT stations, whether you're watching on your phone, your tablet, your television, or by carrier pigeon. We're glad to have you here today for Oliver Ames Baseball. First pitch by the starting pitcher, Jack Devonshire, is inside, 1-0 to Anthony Rego. 2-0 is the count. Rego is catching today for the Warriors. He is a sophomore. Still a fairly senior-heavy lineup as another pitch is inside. Devonshire not found the zone yet, 3-0. With the graduating seniors of the Warriors last year moving on, strike one. There were a bunch of juniors who weren't able to get playing time, or at least starting time, and because of that, they have moved up. Still not experienced as starters. Popped up and out of play. Coach Derek Seuss has said that a lot of these players who are older, seniors, but yet haven't had the opportunity to get real at-bats and meaningful time in the field, this is their time to shine. Full count to Rego. High, and that will be a leadoff walk for Rego as Devonshire walks his first batter. That brings up the third baseman, Aiden Stowe. Stowe is a senior, a captain, committed to play at UMass Amherst. Also their star pitcher, which if you're a Tigers fan, you could be thankful that he is actually not on the mound today. As I just mentioned, he's playing third. It is not his day to start.
That's why I wanted to have this one out here.
But Stowe steps in with a runner on first. Devonshire looks, and deals. Check swing, ball 1. Weather may play a factor in today's game. It is about 50 degrees, but with a wind chill around 35 due to the brisk wind here at the field. Strike 1 called, 1-1. Looking at about a 15-mile-an-hour wind at the moment that's actually tracking across the field towards third base. Gusts up to 30 miles an hour, which is giving you that wind chill factor. Inside again, 2-1. And just as the wind did play a factor on Saturday as it was blowing out and kind of extended some of those high pop flies, fielders will have to be careful when that ball hangs in the air. Strike 2 call. 2-2 as Devonshire looking for his first punch out of the day. Rago on first, no outs, very early here at Frothingham. Look over to first by Jack, and Rago scampers back to first. Oliver Ames 1-1 on the year. Grounder to third, which will be fielded cleanly to second, and then to first for the out at second, but Stowe makes it to first to be able to break up the double play. Stowe reaches first, yet Rago out at second, which makes it 1 out with a runner remaining on first. Braden Jones, the junior, is in the 3 spot. He's playing it short today. Here's the pitch. Nice curve in for a strike. Jones kind of got his shoulder out of the way and thought maybe he was coming towards him, but yet that ball curved right to the zone beautifully. Great placement there by Jack. Look over to first causes Stowe to dive back into the bag. 0-1, 1 out. Deals, fouled off. Quick 0-2 count here for Jones. We're going to talk more about Saturday's game as our broadcast continues, but what an absolute masterpiece Oliver Ames put together here at the field of Saturdays. The runner goes, throw from Giovanello. Will the tag be made and applied? It will be in time for out number 2 as Stowe was caught there stealing. And we're looking at a quite different count here. Now we're looking at a 1-2 count with 2 outs and bases empty. Here's the pitch. Question is, did he go? And first base umpire said he did not. 2-2. We have the same umpiring crew this afternoon as we did on Saturday afternoon. Back here after thawing out from the 10-inning game on Saturday. Question once again, did he go? He did not. Full count. Jones has stayed alive to have a full count, 2 outs. Here's the pitch. Grounded to third, where it's going to go past the extended glove of Lawless into the outfield for a base hit. Jones works his way back from a 0-2 count to get the base hit. 1 aboard, 2 outs. Cleanup hitter Colin Trimble is up. Another one of the captains here, and again, may have mentioned already today that he will be the starting pitcher for Foxboro. Runner on first, 2 outs. Here's the pitch. Tapped out of play. Your 2 stars from the game on Saturday, there were a lot of guys who really stepped up. One would have been Jack Giovanello, He was 4 for 6 with a double, a stolen base, 3 RBI, and 2 runs. But also you have Zane Prescott, who came in for relief and pitched 5 gutsy innings of relief. Punched out 9 as that ball slips away to the backstop. Giovanello picks it up. The runner going around second. comes back.
They miss it, they're screwed.
Runner advances, 1-1, 2 outs. Jones now in scoring position. Zane Prescott absolutely pitched a gem on Saturday. Get 9 strikeouts, scattered a few hits. Strike, 2 called. Again, that curve comes right back into the zone. 1-2, 2 outs, and Jack looking to close out the top half of the first right here. Wind howling here at Frothingham. Here's the pitch. Little high, 2-2. The story of the year so far for the Tigers is the fact there's so many younger players. What was a senior-heavy team last year is filled with sophomores and juniors. Strike 3 call, and you may be seated. And that will end the top of the first. Midway through the first, the score is 0-0. Oliver Ames coming up here in just a moment. Time for our starting lineups, and your starting lineups today are brought to you by Michael Associates LTD, specializing in the development and management of affordable housing for families, seniors, and individuals with special needs. To learn more, visit michaelltd.com. That's MICHEL LTD.com. Well, for the visiting Foxboro Warriors, number 1, let's try that again. Number 10, the first batter will be catcher Anthony Rego. In the 2 spot, number 13, the third baseman, Aiden Stowe. In the 3rd spot, number 8 at short, Braden Jones. Batting cleanup, number 2, the pitcher, Colin Trimble. We've seen all these gentlemen so far today. In the 5 spot, number 11, the left fielder, Henry Griffin. Batting 6, number 1, center fielder, Nick Hardiman. Number 7, or the 7 spot rather, number 15, first baseman, Matt O'Keefe. Batting 8th, number 19, DH Brendan Watts. And following at the end of the order, number 7, the second baseman, Harrison Lamson. Also not in the batting order, but playing right today is Paul Moran, number 18. For your Oliver Ames Tigers, you have in the number 1 spot leadoff hitter, center fielder Evan Zamilo. Number 13 batting second at short, Zane Prescott. Number 10, the catcher, batting third, Jack Giovanello. Number 4, number 25, batting fourth, first baseman, Henry Burr. In the 5 spot, number 4, third baseman, Taryn Lawless. Batting 6, number 5, at second, Tommy Regan. In the number 7 hole, number 23, the DH, Jaden Levine. In the 8th spot, number 9, out and right, Brady Shatas. And number 9, the 9th batter, rather. I'm having some trouble here this afternoon. We'll get with it. The number 29 left fielder, Grayson Reed. 8 of these 9 young men were starting on Saturday. Grayson Reed is a new addition to the lineup here this afternoon. And again, those starting lineups that were not exceptionally delivered to you, but yet they were delivered to you nonetheless by Michael Associates. Visit them at Michael, MICHEL, LTD.com. The Tigers had several chances on Saturday to let the game get out of hand, and what we have seen from previous iterations of this Tiger lineup in past years, that difficulties in fielding, difficulties in just getting the ball around as far as throwing could lead to errors, and sometimes very costly errors that would allow the game to get out of hand. What you saw on Saturday was not just timely hitting and strong pitching, but you also saw some exceptional fielding as well. And where pitching has not been as much of an issue over the last few years, having some strong bats as well as timely fielding has been problematic. And to see a squad so young, to be so poised on Saturday is something for Tiger fans that you have to be very, very impressed with. Evan's going to step in here as the first batter for Oliver Ames. Evans, a senior, playing out in center today. Colin Trimble pitching, and first swing is a strike as Evans swings and misses. Trimble receives the sign. Here's the pitch.
I know the angle kind
Falls
of
into the zone for a strike. Quick
slightly different
0-2 count
but maybe the
for
wind
Trimble
just
against
makes it
Zamilo.
work. I don't think this one was supposed
OA
to
split the season series last year, each team winning their away game. Tagged into center field where it will fall in front of the center fielder for a base hit. And Evan, who had a big day at the bat on Saturday, has continued that today with a lead-off single. Evan had a big double and a big triple on Saturday and continues the hot bat here with that lead-off single. Zane Prescott, one of the players of the game on Saturday, is up to bat now, playing short. Foul tip. 0-1. In the away teams won last year. Of course, we hope that streak ends this afternoon. Here's the pitch. And there goes the runner. And he will get there quickly enough that Anthony Rego, the catcher, decides not even to throw the ball to second. Great jump by Evan, putting him in scoring position. No outs. 1-1 count. Runner on second. Trimble looks and deals. Very high. 2-1. Of course, when we do play-by-play here at ECAT, we do not cover the away games, but did get to see and call the Foxboro game last year where they lost, the Tigers did, 3-0. 3-1 is the count. And the issue we had against Foxboro last year was the issue that was problematic for the entire season. That was pitching was strong, but yet weren't able to muster up 4 runs for the win. Trimble steps off the rubber as Evan continues to make his presence known on the base path. Claps his hands. The Tiger bench is very chatty early here in the game. Here's the pitch. Popped up and out of play for a full count. When Prescott came into the game on Saturday, the Tigers had just given up 5 runs. The Tigers went from being in the lead to being behind, and you just felt the life drain out of the Tigers. And that's going to go into right field for a base hit. That's going to be at least a double as it rolls and rolls. Evan will score, and Zane is going to go towards third as he's chugging away. He'll be there in plenty of time for a stand-up triple. And very quickly, OA pounces again and is up 1-0. Excellent hit there by Zane into right field. The right fielder had to give chase as it rolled and rolled and rolled into that very, very large right field where there is no wall to stop it. And that plays to the Tigers' advantage. And now we have a runner on third, no outs. Trimble gives up his second hit and first run of the game. And Jack Giovanello, the hero, well, the other hero of Saturday, is now up to bat. First pitch is in for a ball, 1-0. Coach Abar on third, giving Zane some instructions. Here's the pitch. Big league cut there, but swung through for a strike. 1-1. Zane plays close to the bag. A tag up here will score another run. Ball is low. 2-1. Again, if you're just tuning in, early here in this contest, OA is up by 1. Runner on third, no outs. Jack looking to add to his stat total from Saturday as he calls for time. Readjusts the batting glove there. and steps back in. Henry Burr at cleanup is on deck. Here's the pitch. That's going to be another hit, and that will score another run as it falls in front of the left fielder for a base hit. 3 at-bats, 3 hits, and Oliver Ames once again jumps out quickly. It's 2-0 as Coach Derek Seuss walks out for the mound visit, and Trimble is in trouble here early. Once again, if you're a Tigers fan, you're looking at a much different team than we have seen in the past few seasons. And nothing against those young men who played over the last few years, and they played their guts out. But here you have in these first few games here at Frothingham, you're seeing a different confidence out of these boys, and it is exciting to watch. I hope that comes through the television screen or your phone as you're watching right now, that these guys are enjoying playing, and they are hanging tough. So Oliver Ames up by 2. Foxboro has still not registered an out here in the first. Evan, Zane, and Jack have all gotten a hit, and Henry Burr as cleanup here at the dish. Here's the pitch. Jack taking a very generous lead at first. Oliver Ames was not extremely active on the base paths on Saturday. However, they had some very timely running when it counted, especially Ben Parker, who scored the winning run on Saturday. Well inside for a ball. 2-0. Ben Parker really helped manufacture that game-winning run by stealing second, distracting the relief pitcher for Dighton Rehoboth as he was dancing around at second, and then made his way quickly around on the base hit to score all the way from second. 2-1 is the count now to Henry Burr, the junior, only sophomore to play for the club last year. Of course, that's changed quite a bit this year with so many sophomores in the lineup. Base hit, and that will squeeze through the infield. And that puts runners on first and second. Matt O'Keefe at first dives and was not able to make the play, and Burr squirts that hit right through the infield for another base hit. That is 4 at-bats, 4 hits for Oliver Ames. Runners on first and second. Taryn Lawless at bat, the sophomore, and again, there are no outs. Jack continues to move around on the base paths as that ball falls low once again, 1-0. Taryn's playing at the hot corner today. Here's the pitch. High again. 2-0. Timeout is called here. And Tigers fans are certainly encouraged here very early in the game, and we are very early in the game. But so many times in the past you watch the Tigers having to try to claw their way, no pun intended, out of a jam, and to see them up early, as we saw them on Saturday, is exactly what you're looking for from this young squad. Coach Abar in his 10th year coaching here at OA for the varsity team. Bunt is showed, and it will be bunted foul. 2-1. As Lawless is looking to move the runners along here with a bunt. We'll see if he shows bunt here again in a minute. Pitcher. Trimble shakes off the sign. Looks. Throws to home. 2-2 now as that ball just gets into the far side of the zone. Runners at first and second, no outs. Lawless at bat. Steps out long enough to stretch a little bit. Back in. Trimble with the offering. Well outside. Full count now. And if you can, watch Jack there on second base. He's moving around quite a bit. He's almost halfway down the baseline there as that ball goes by for a walk. Is he going to try to score? No, he is not. He wisely, after rounding third, goes back. But ball four, that passed ball there, loads up the bases. And now Tommy Regan, the captain, comes up to bat. He's got bases loaded and no outs. Tommy has the experience here. Been in this position before. Came up big on Saturday. Had a double. Chopper bounces off the plate, off of him, and foul. 0-1. If you're Tommy right now, the real challenge is to make sure you don't try to do too much. Just got to put it in play here. Not trying to hit a grand slam. Not that you could here at Frothingham Park because of the dimensions. Here's the pitch. Very low. The catcher keeps it in front of him. 1-1. Trimble struggling early here for the Warriors. Trying to work his way out of a jam. There is a pitcher in the bullpen for Foxboro. We'll keep an eye on that. Here's the pitch. Hit right back to the third baseman who will double up Jack Giovanello. Tough spot there. Great heads-up play by the third baseman who gets the line out and steps back as Jack was not far off of the bag, but when the third baseman caught the ball right next to the bag, there was nothing Jack could do there, and it was almost a triple play as the throw was made to first, but not in time. So now we go from bases loaded and no outs to runners on first and second and 2 outs, a little bit different for certain. Jaden Levine is up. Came in a pinch hitting effort on Saturday and played well. Worked his way into the starting lineup today. Actually, one of two. I mentioned earlier was only Grayson Reed who was new to the starting lineup today, but Jaden Levine is as well. He just didn't start. High into center field where Nick Hardiman will get under it for out number 3. Well, Oliver Ames was knocking on the door looking to put up more, but 2 runs in the first is certainly a good thing to see for Tigers fans. Well, the score is 2-0 Tigers. We'll be back in a moment here on ECAT. of the nicer uniforms you'll find here in the Hawk, and of course the Tigers in the classic orange and whites. 1-0 here to Hardiman. Inside 2-0. Jack Devonshire, of course, was a pitcher last year for the Tigers and had some very strong outings last year. One of the anchors of the rotation this year as well. Here's the pitch. Popped up, outfield. That's going to go over the head of Brady Shatas, and it's going to roll as Hardiman will go to second, and that will be a double. Despite the fact that the wind is blowing in, we've seen a couple deep hits here. One for OA, one for Foxboro. And there's a runner on second with one out as Matt O'Keefe, another captain, steps up. There are 5 captains starting this afternoon for the Warriors. Devonshire now gives up his 3rd hit of the afternoon. Strike 1. Get Matt O'Keefe playing first. Jack looks again. Pickoff attempt is unsuccessful, but trying to keep Hardiman honest there on second base. Pitch, check swing. Said that he did not go through, and so that means the count is 1-1. Get both of these teams 1-1 on the year. Strike 2. And if you're the Tigers, you're looking for not just a win here, but to have a winning record. I know it's very early. 2-1 still is a winning record, though, and it sure would look good. Pickoff attempt once again. Hardiman slides back safely as O'Keefe waits for the pitch. This 1-2 count, 1 out. Very high as Jack jumps up to get it. Counts 2-2. Oliver Ames' loss on the year was to Mansfield. That was last Monday at Mansfield, a 9-3 loss. Here's the pitch. Low, batter does not chase. 3-2. Just looking at a full count here, 1 out, runner on second. Top 2, and Tigers are up by 2. Devonshire with the pitch. Strike 3 called. You may be seated as Jack registers his first K of the afternoon. 2 outs now, runner on second. Brendan Watts, the designated hitter, comes up in the 8th spot in the order. Strike 1. Devonshire's got some good movement on his pitches today. Warriors are having some trouble tracking them. Grounder to third, which is going to be caught and thrown to first, where Burr gets out number 3. Runner left on base once again for Foxboro, but no run score, which means the score remains 2-0 Tigers. Well, it's time for our in-game summary, or not our in-game summary. We don't have much of a game yet to have a summary of. It's time for our keys to the game, and keys to the game are brought to you by the Easton Lions Club. Where there's a need, there's a lion. To be a lion, visit eastonlions.com. Well, as we mentioned, the Tigers had what could be a signature win on Saturday against DR in a 10-inning affair. I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but it was 3.5 hours. And the weather was very similar to today. At least we have some sun today. It was brutal, but yet Oliver Ames came out with the win. Jack Giovanelli hit the game winner. Ben Parker scored the winning run. Zane Prescott put on a clinic with 5 innings of relief, striking out 9 as he collected the win. Tigers are 1-1, but yet they are still looking for their first win in the Hawk. and that's what they're looking for against Foxboro today. Foxboro, speaking of them, the Warriors were 15-9 last year and made it to the D3 quarterfinals. And we're going to want to watch Aiden Stowe today. As I mentioned a little while ago, he's committed to UMass Amherst. He's the anchor of their rotation, as well as their biggest bat. He had a .359 average last year. The game that we broadcast last year was OA and Foxboro about the same time last year. It was early in the season. And Oliver Ames lost 3-0, and it was not because of a lack of pitching. In fact, it was a great pitching effort, if I remember well from that day. It was really the lack of bats for Oliver Ames. And that's where we consider the key to the game today. You want to continue for Oliver Ames to have those bats hot, because this is something that was missing from the team last year. So to see them hit and to see them be able to really get a hold and rip the cover off of the baseball is something that will be a key if Oliver Ames wants to get the win today against the Warriors. Well, it's now bottom 2, and Brady Shatos comes up. The sophomore, out and right today. Low and outside, 1-0. Brady also had a double on Saturday, along with Evan and Tommy. Here's the pitch. Strike one, just painting that outside corner. Now on Saturday, we had the same umpires I mentioned just a few moments ago. It was a very wide strike zone on Saturday. Don't know if I've seen an indication that will be the case today, as that goes wide, 2-1. What we looked at on Saturday with our umpires and referenced them was a fairly wide strike zone and sometimes a not as consistent strike zone. Shot toss hits a chopper to first base where it's going to be mishandled, and he'll reach first on the error. And you want to talk about baseball 101 right there. That's why you run out the grounders, because you never know what's going to happen, particularly on that level. And what should have been out number 1 instead, because of the error, ended up being a runner on first and no outs. Grayson Reed represents the bottom of the order. Did not play on Saturday. It's up today. Here's the pitch. Strike one hits that outside corner once again. Oliver Ames absolutely jumped out all over Foxboro in the last inning, with the first 4 batters all registering hits, including Zane Prescott with a big-time triple. Pickoff attempt is unsuccessful. We remain at an 0-1 count. No outs, bottom 2. Trimble looks, deals, hits that corner once again for a strike. Trimble keeps hitting that corner, and the Tigers are letting him so far. 0-2. Here's the pitch. Just a little bit outside as Trimble misses the mark. 1-2. Evan Zamilo is up next. Representing the top of the runner goes, and it will be not in time as the second baseman fumbles the ball. He bobbles the ball. You could say he fumbled it, but he bobbles the ball. The throw was not placed well from Anthony Rego, and because of that, Braden Jones was not able to apply the tag. So now it's 2-2, runner on second, no outs. And Trimble is laboring once again here. Hit directly to the second baseman, who is going to double up Brady Shatos. And once again, a double play off a liner causes some real trouble for Oliver Ames. Shatos got just too much of a jump off of there, was nowhere near the bag to be able to tag up. Now, once again, you go from a runner on second and no outs to bases being cleared and 2 outs. Evan back up to bat. That ball skips by. 1-0 is the count. Just the unlikelihood of basically the same thing happening to the Tigers 2 innings in a row, a line out, which turns into a double play. The first was unpreventable from where it was hit. The second one maybe was preventable, however. Brady was just so far off the bag. He may have been running. That's where it's hard for us to tell. He may have gotten a great break off, and it just was, again, an unlucky break to have it lined out just off a second like it was. Zamilo calls time, 2-0. 2 outs, Tigers up by 2. Low, but called for a strike. 2-1. There was activity for Foxboro in the bullpen. That is not the case right now. Mighty cut. Strike 2. Trimble, to this point, really should consider himself lucky that the damage hasn't been worse. Swing and a miss, and that's strike 3. Well, after 2, the Tigers are up by 2. We'll be back for a moment for the third here on ECAT. Harrison Lamson represents the bottom of the order for Foxboro as we start the third inning. Oliver Ames up by 2. And again, you can almost feel like the Tigers should be up by more right now, but some unlucky hitting, line drives that turn into double plays means the Tigers are only up by 2. But I almost feel like that represents the difference of this team already, and maybe even the expectations of this team this year, and how they are starting to change. The fact that they're up by 2 and you kind of wish they were up by more. Devonshire jumps out quickly to an 0-2 count against Lamson. Here's the pitch. Popped up. Boy, that wind's going to grab a hold of it. And Brady Shawtoss gets in front of it for out number 1. And that wind is really gusting, and for our broadcast position, we can't always see exactly where the ball is going, how it's tracking. We're about 60 feet behind home plate, on top of the fact that it's hard to see from this vantage point with everyone out there. But you could just see the wind grab a hold of that high pop fly. So a difficult out, but was registered nonetheless by the Tigers. Top of the order now as Anthony Rego comes up to bat. Walked back in the first. Devonshire pitches. Strike 2 again. Beautiful curve there by Jack Devonshire. They're having trouble with those inside pitches that are going into the strike zone. Here's the next pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And Rego is out on 3 pitches. 2 quick outs for the Tigers as they keep the pedal to the metal. And Aiden Stowe up next. Second strikeout so far this afternoon for Jack. Stowe, again, one of those 5 captains, quickly tapped out into center field, where it will be caught for out number 3. How do you like that? 3 up and 3 down for the Warriors, and the Tigers will be back up to bat here in just a moment. Well, we have some community events we want to share with you this afternoon, and community events are brought to you by Weinstein Keach. That's one of Caldwell Banker Realty's largest and most successful sales teams. Weinstein Keach covers every aspect of the real estate transaction successfully and with the best service the industry has to offer. Weinstein Keach, we sell real estate. Well, as far as community events, we want to first and foremost remind you that there is a upcoming town election here in the next few weeks. Annual town election is Tuesday, April 28th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's at the Oliver Ames High School Gymnasium. The deadline to register to vote is April 17th, and the deadline to apply for a ballot by mail is April 21st. Annual town meeting follows just a few days later on Monday, May 18th. That'll be at 7 p.m. at the Oliver Ames High School Auditorium. The deadline to register to vote for annual town meeting is May 8th. If you have any questions about voting, upcoming elections, or what your precinct is, you can check out Easton's town website, which is easton.ma.us/vote. Also, you may have heard around town that there is another opportunity for an override, and you have a chance to be able to vote on that menu style. Well, what does that mean? Well, on March 9th, 2026, the Select Board voted to place 2 questions on the ballot of the annual town election for an operating override. This is what's known as a menu-style override, where there are multiple questions with distinct and specific requests, and voters can vote for or against each question. The first question is public safety, to hire additional police officers and firefighters, associated benefits for those employees, and other police and fire training and expenses. The second is public works, funding roadway and sidewalk improvements, as well as 2 full-time DPW special equipment operator positions and associated employee benefits. Additional information, including the voter process, important dates, tax impact, and more, is available at www.easton.ma.us/override. Well, we return for the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Oliver Ames up by 2. As we try to get our paperwork back to where it needs to be, because, again, if I haven't mentioned already, it's pretty windy out here. Zane Prescott leads off here in the bottom of the 3rd. Ball is low. Trimble remains on the mound. Has been able to limit the damage despite giving up quite a few hits so far. Gave up 4 hits in the first 4 at-bats of the game. It's calmed down a little bit since then, but really the damage could be much worse for the Warriors. Changeup into the zone, 1-2. Prescott had that big-time triple out to right in the first inning. Well over the head of the right fielder, and it rolled and rolled and rolled. 2-2 as that misses the mark. Prescott, just a sophomore, but showed some real chops on Saturday. Swing and a miss, though, there for strike 3 as he chased an inopportune pitch there for out number 1. And Trimble has struck out the last 2 batters. Giovanello up next. Continued his hot streak with a single back in the first. 4 for 6 on Saturday. As that wind picks up again. Here's the pitch. Well outside, 1-0. As I mentioned, gusts up to about 30 miles an hour right now, and looking at the flag over behind the stands out in the crowd, you could see the wind blowing in and towards third. Here's the pitch. Over the head of Jack, who gets out of the way. Ball 2. 1 out, no one on. Bottom 3. Tigers up 2. Trimble deals. Pop fly into left field, which is caught by Henry Griffin for out number 2. Henry Burr up next. Cleanup hitter. also with a good day at the plate on Saturday, and is 1-0 or 1-1 rather for the day today. High 1-0. Well, the first time through, Trimble gave up 4 hits the first 4 batters. This time so far, he's retired 3 of those same 4 batters. Here's a pitch. Burr swings through 1-1. Crowd continues to filter in here this afternoon at Frothingham. Very pro-Tiger crowd, as you would hope. Although some of these away teams, depending how close they are, fans travel very well. Had some Dighton Rehoboth fans actually sitting right next to the broadcast table here on Saturday, which made it pretty interesting at times. 1-2 as Henry calls time. Henry bats left. Trimble takes the sign. Here's the pitch. Pop fly center field, where it will be caught by Nick Hardiman for out number 3. Trimble, after giving up so much in the first inning, has retired the side over the last 2 innings. We're going into the 4th. Tigers up by 2. Stay with us here on ECAT. Top of 4 here at Frothingham Park, and Oliver Ames remains up by 2. In the 3 spot leading off for this inning, Braden Jones singled in the first. Devonshire continues to pitch here. First pitch is in for a strike. Devonshire has kept the Warriors guessing thus far. Check swing, did he go? He did, strike 2. Devonshire giving up 3 hits in 3 innings, struck out 2. Drops in the zone, strike 3. And once again, those inside pitches the Warriors do not have an answer for from Jack Devonshire. Great outing for him thus far. Cleanup hitter, Colin Trimble, up for his second at bat. Grounded out in the first. Same pitch, but a little bit too far inside. 1-0. Here's the pitch. That one low and outside. 2-0 to Trimble. Devonshire, a starter for the Tigers last year, as he registers that strike, making the count 2-1. And Devonshire had some really good outings last year. Here's a pitch. 3-1, I'm sorry. You expect more of the same from Jack this year, particularly in his senior campaign. One of the 3 captains of the team. Swung through, full count now. As the sun comes out here, a welcomed addition to this afternoon game. Here's the pitch. Fouled off into the crowd. Count remains 3-2 as some crowd members had to jump out of the way there. Fouled off once again. Early swing there by Trimble. Hangs in there though, 3-2. Here's the pitch. Fouled off again. And Trimble stays alive. 3-2, 1 out. Tigers are up by 2. Jack with the pitch. Tagged into center field. Can't really see where it's going, but it falls into center field near the tree, and it'll be a double for Colin Trimble. Lost that one here from the broadcast table. There's about 7 bodies on the field in the way to be able to tell if the ball fell or not. Took a little bit, but the end result was that pop fly to center field, fell near the tree, and that is a 1-out double for the Warriors. Runner in scoring position now as Trimble takes second, 1 out. Henry Griffin up next. Strike 1 called. First extra base hit for the Warriors this afternoon. So that's not true. It's a second extra base hit. Nick Hardiman had one back in the second. I apologize. 0-1, 1 out. As Trimble takes a generous lead off a second. Here's a pitch. Grounder off the glove of Devonshire, but fielded by Regan for out number 2. Great heads-up reflexes there by Tommy Regan, as it looked like, at least from my vantage point, it went off the tip of the glove of Devonshire, but fielded cleanly. Throw to Burr, out number 2. That does give us a runner on third, 2 outs. And Hardiman, who did have that extra base hit in the second, is at bat once again. Quickly swings at it. It's going to be a slow roller to the shortstop, who's going to throw to first. Henry Burr, does he get it in time? He does for out number 3. The Warriors are looking to say that he was off the bag. He was not, and because of that, the runner on third will be another runner left on base for the Warriors. Devonshire pitches out of the jam once again. Tigers remain up by 2. Well, we have a few more community events for you here midway in the 4th inning, and once again, the community events are brought to you by Weinstein Keach. Weinstein Keach, we sell real estate. There's a fire safety night coming up soon at the Simmons Lecture Hall at Oliver Ames High School. That is Tuesday, April 14th at 7 p.m. Captain Michael Green will give the top 10 items for home safety, followed by question and answers. Fire Safety Night is sponsored by the Easton Women of Today, as well as the Easton Fire Department. Household waste hazardous turn-in day comes up soon as I turn my page here. Let's call it correctly the Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day. There it is. The 41st annual, by the way, from the Easton Water Division. For all Easton residents, you can bring all types of accepted items like furniture polish, solvent, adhesives, hair dye, bleach, brake fluid, motor oil, fire starters, fungicides, insecticides, pesticides, pretty much all kinds of sides. You just bring them with you to the DPW. They will not accept latex paint, ammunition, commercial hazardous waste, construction waste, non-empty gas cylinders, medications, syringes, household batteries, and believe it or not, they will not accept your radioactive material. Do not bring it to the DPW. However, if you are interested, you can come April 18th from 8 a.m. to noon. That's at the DPW building at 130 Center Street here in Easton for the 41st annual Easton Water Division Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day. Also on that day, the Easton Lion Clubs will be there to accept some other items, including refrigerators, stoves, washer dryers, ACs, dehumidifiers, mattresses, water heaters, computer monitors, you name it. If you have any questions about that, call the Easton Lions Club at 508-269-7181. Bottom four now here at Worcester Field. Tigers are up by 2, scored 2 quick runs in the first. And although there have been some opportunities to score, they have not been able to convert. Trimble remains on the mound. And Taryn Lawless, back up at bat, walked in the first. Strike one called in that far lower quadrant of the plate there of the strike zone. Trimble with the pitch. Tagged into left field where it's going to fall for a base hit. Henry Griffin not able to come up with it. And you have to wonder if that wind just pushed it towards the third base line. He dove, but it had an opportunity to catch, but it just got out of his glove. So that'll be a base hit for Lawless. Put together a good day so far at the plate. 1 for 1 with a walk. And Tommy Regan comes up again. He had that unfortunate line out back in the first inning as he lined out to the third baseman with bases loaded, which caused the double play. Regan allows the first to go by. 1-0 is the count. Lawless on first. Oliver Ames wanting to extend that lead. Pickoff attempt is unsuccessful. Taryn really wasn't that far off the bag, but they're trying to keep him close. Again, Regan back up at bat. Second AB of the game. 2-0 as that ball skirts close to the dirt there. Here's a pitch. Change up in the zone, 2-1. Taryn staying close to the bag, but as the pitcher gets ready to release, takes a little bit more of a generous lead. See if he does the same here. Well, he will not, and that's why he's safe at the pickoff temp once again. Owe's already stolen 2 bases thus far this game. Here's a pitch. Outside, 3-1. Trimble's given up 5 hits thus far in 4 innings, struck out 2. Deals, and the runner goes. Throw to second is high, and it will not be in time as he almost overextends the bag. But there is a full count. So 3-2, runner on second now, no outs. Great stolen base by Taryn there. 3rd stolen bag of the game for OA. Once again, for OA, a runner in scoring position. Full count. Here's the pitch. Hit to the short. Throw is going to be made to third base, where the call is going to be out at third. Tommy Regan will be safe on the fielder's choice. A little surprised, actually, that the throw from short was made to third, but it ended up being the right call if you're a Warrior fan, because Taryn was caught at third. So now we're looking at, instead of a runner on second and no outs, a runner on first and 1 out. Levine back at bat. Well inside, 1-0. So once again, the opportunities for OA have been there, but just some ill-timed hitting, if you will, that have caused them to get runners to get cut down. And once again, that's been the case. 2-0, 1 out, runner on first. Regan aboard on the fielder's choice. Fouled off. 2-1. Shot toss on deck. Batting 8th today. But Jaden Levine up to bat. Again, pinch hitting on Saturday helped make a difference in that win. Outside 3-1. And you're watching Trimble here, and although he's only given up 2 runs, you don't really feel that he has been really in control this afternoon. And you feel like there's still some opportunities that'll be there for the Tigers. That's skied high into the infield. Who's going to get it? Trimble makes the call and the catch for out number 2. Those are scary pop flies on a day like this. But Trimble calls everyone off, makes the catch. 2 outs now. Runner on first as Brady comes in, legged out that error back. Oh, and he almost got hit by that pitch there. Yeah, grounded out in the second, but the throwing error caused him to get aboard because he really hauled it there to first base. Look at that wind coming off the dirt coming off the pitcher mound there. They'll tell you everything you need to know. Foul ball as the wind gets a hold of that one and carries it deep into foul territory off the third base line. 1-1, 2 outs. Brady up again. Tommy at first. If you're just joining us, Tigers are up by 2, scored 2 in the first, and have been unable to score again. Here's the pitch. Drops in, 1-2 rather. Wind picking up again. Colin Trimble thinks about it, looks. Here's the pitch. Outside 2-2. It's been all away thus far. Up by 2, opportunities for more have abounded thus far. Foul tip. Brady stays alive, 2-2. Foxboro did have a runner on third with 2 outs last inning, and we're not able to convert. But for the most part, Jack Devonshire has been able to scatter those hits enough that really they have not been able to knock on the door. Foul tip into the glove of Anthony Rego, and that is out number 3. End of 4. Tigers are still up by 2. We'll be back for the 5th in just a moment. Stay with us after this commercial break on ECAT. The 7, 8, 9 hitters are up next for Foxboro, and Oliver Ames is up by 2 as you've rejoined us here at the top of the 5th inning. Glad to have you along with us this afternoon on ECAT. Tigers looking for their 2nd win of the season after their winner in the home opener on Saturday, that walk-off in the 10th inning. Tigers and Foxboro Warriors looking to get up 2-1 on the season as they both come in 1-1 this afternoon. O'Keefe struck out in the 2nd and is back up again here in the top of the 5th and is behind the count already 1-0, or 0-1 rather. You can't be behind the count 1-0. Here's the pitch. Chases again, strike 2. And Jack continues to keep him guessing. Here's the pitch. In the dirt, but O'Keefe almost chased after it. 1-2. So far in 4 innings, Jack Devonshire's given up 4 hits and struck out 3. And got hit in the shoulder right there, and so he will take his base, O'Keefe will, and that'll be 1 runner aboard with no outs here in the top of the 5th. Brendan Watts, the DH, is up next. Jack has been working that inside, and that time just came back to haunt him a little bit. Strike 1 call. You hope that despite that hit by pitch there that Jack will continue to pound that area of the zone that's worked so well for him thus far today. Here's a pitch. Popped up and out of play. No balls, 2 strikes. O'Keefe on first. Devonshire up in this count, 0-2. There's that wind again. And I almost wonder if the wind played into that hit by pitch there as well, because that was an absolute heavy gust of wind right there. You could see just the dirt coming off the ground there. I don't want to blame the wind there, but at the same time, I wonder if that kind of got away from him a little bit because of that. You could just see the dirt flying off the mound as well as in front of the plate, and the next thing you know, the second pitcher gets plunked. Devonshire has been in control this afternoon, but there's a mound visit to talk about it just a little bit. Again, gusts up to about 30 miles an hour right now, and if you're a right-handed batter, that wind is blowing into you as it just did a few moments ago. Neither side, as I hold everything down here at the table, we'll resume here in a moment. Neither side has any action in the bullpen right now. To actually take that back. Oliver Ames does have a reliever in the bullpen, and Alex Sade is warming up. Number 7, Alex Sade in the pen for the Tigers. So Jack's going to have to work out of a jam a little bit here with runners on first and second, no outs. The bottom of the order, Harrison Lamson is up. He's 0-1 this afternoon. This would be the most potent threat so far by Foxboro this afternoon, as he shows bunt and bunts foul. With 2 strikes now, the bunt is off the table. As I just mentioned a few moments ago, the Warriors did have a runner on third with 2 outs. But when you look at runners on first and second, no outs, there's a lot of opportunity for damage here as that goes out of play. And we remain at 0-2. You want to make sure that the Warriors don't get their opportunity to put some runs on the board here, as that is popped up and caught for out number 1. And a quick throw back by Evan to ensure that the runner does not advance. Good job there by the Tigers, and runners remain on first and second with 1 out. And Lamson gets his second fly out of the afternoon. Anthony Rego, top of the order, is up next. He struck out in his last at bat. Punch out here would be really, really helpful, and that's a good start as Jack makes him chase 0-1. Jack takes the sign, looks to second, looks again, throws, high, 1-1. These are the situations that we want to keep an eye on as Tigers fans, where in previous years, once again, things could get out of hand very quickly. But we've seen a lot of tenacity from this team just in this few short days that we've had, and Jack Devonshire hits his 3rd batter and it might be time to call it for him, and it looks like that might be the case. So bases are loaded, 1 out. All 3 men on base were hit by pitches. So we'll keep an eye on what's happening here. There is a pinch runner that is going out for Foxboro right now, out at second base. At least I believe it's second base. Sade is still warming up, but actually there's no indication right now that he's going to be coming in, so Jack is going to pitch his way out of it. Bases loaded, 1 out. Tigers up by 2, but Foxboro's knocking at the door. Ball is low, but Jack keeps it in front of him to keep the runners from advancing. Good work there by Giovanello. 1-0. Aiden Stowe back up again. Their ace, playing third today, but also has an over 350 average, at least last year here in the Hawk. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. Had a single back in the first. Flew out in his last at bat. Umpire has some words there, of which I am not privy to. But we're looking at a 1-1 count, 1 out. Bases are juiced. All 3 runners were hit by pitches. And that's going to get away, and it will score a run as it goes off of the field, and the runners will only be able to take a base. And that wild pitch will cost the Tigers dearly, as the score is now 2-1. Runners now on second and third. There is no force out. 1 out. And the Warriors just cut the lead in half. Big time situation here for Devonshire. Here's the pitch with the 2-1 count. Just missed the zone for a 3-1 count now. Big sequence here for Devonshire. Here's the pitch. Grounder out of play. Full count now. And a strikeout is just what is needed here in this situation. So Devonshire in this inning hit 3 pitchers, or hit 3 with a pitch, and then a wild pitch, ended up scoring a run. Fouled off. Remains 3-2. So some costly mistakes there for Devonshire, but he's looking to make up for it with a strikeout here. And Stowe showing some of that experience here as he continues to stay alive. Again, Stowe has committed to play for UMass Amherst next spring rather. Here's a pitch. Inside for ball 4. As he flips the bat and runs to first, the bases are once again loaded with Braden Jones up to the bat. Jones is a junior, has a single and a strikeout to his credit this afternoon. Good pitch placement there by Devonshire for an 0-1 count. Fouled off, out of play, 0-2. Looking over at the action of the bullpen here as that once again goes out of play. Looks like Logan Horsman might be warming up in the bullpen as well. Not seen him pitch yet, so we'll keep an eye on that, as that one's in the dirt, scooped out by Jack for a count of 1-2. Again, bases are loaded, 1 out. OA up by 1 That one looked like it could have hit him as well. It came in, but is a ball. 2-2. Jack looking to get out of the jam and get out of the inning. High pop-up into foul territory, but could be caught. And it is caught for out number 2. Great job there by Taryn Lawless to track that with the wind blowing it closer and closer to the crowd there, but made the heads-up play, tracked it well, caught it. Out number 2. Cleanup hitter Colin Trimble up as he swings that into center field where Evan Zamilo will catch it for out number 3. Well, you feel like if you're a Tigers fan that the Tigers definitely could have had that. It could have been so much worse than what it was, is what I'm trying to say. And so you feel fortunate there with bases loaded. The 3 men hit by the pitch and the wild pitch, with all that going on. Tigers locked in and made sure it didn't get any worse, and props to Jack Devonshire, who pitched his way out of that jam, got himself into the jam, got himself out of the jam. Good job there, Jack. Well, we are midway through the 5th inning, and the score, as I just mentioned, is 2-1 Tigers. And we're going to give you some more community events, our final community events here for the afternoon. And once again, these are brought to you by Weinstein Keach. We sell real estate. There's some Easton community programs that will be coming up later this spring and into the summer that the town wants you to know about. First of all, there's middle school track and field. That's Monday and Thursday practices from April 27th to June 4th from 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. This program introduced participants of all abilities to running and field events. It will include travel to nearby schools for scheduled meets. Please note this program is limited to 90 athletes. You can sign up for the team at easton.ma.us. There's an adult boot camp series, a 6-week series on Tuesdays from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Get your heart pumping and calories burning in this high-energy class, combining cardio, strength, functional training in a multi-station format. Boot camp challenges all fitness levels. The April through June series is now open. If you'd like to participate in multiple series, you'll need to register for each one individually. You can find out more about them at the program portal at easton.ma.us. If you have any questions, you can email the town directly at programs@easton.ma.us. There's also the ISSA Songwriter Showcase Series, April 26th at Oaks Ames Memorial Hall. The ISSA Boston Northeast Songwriter Showcase on Sunday, April 26th is at 3 p.m. and features singer-songwriters Tom Irving, David Jackson, Linda Marks, and Irene Springer playing in the round. Please join us for a joyful afternoon of music. Suggest a donation of $10 to $20, and that's at Oaks Ames Memorial Hall. Here we are at the bottom of the 5th. The Tigers looking to get that run back that they just gave up. And that ball is in the dirt. We're actually have a count of 1-1. I missed the first pitch there, giving you those community events. So let me get my paperwork back here as Grayson Reed, the bottom of the order, is at bat. Outside again, 2-1. This is where I believe the tenacity of this year's squad is on full display. The game has not gotten out of hand despite a very real threat there in the last inning. Chopper down the first base line. Will he be able to run it out? He will not be, as Trimble gets to the bag in time before Grayson for out number 1. Back to the top of the order. That means Evan Zamilo is at the bat. 1 for 2 this afternoon thus far. He had a leadoff single back in the first inning. Yeah, to see the perseverance of this team and to, again, see them up on the railing, to see them encouraging their teammates here despite what could have been a little bit of a momentum swing is exactly what you're looking for this squad. I know it's exactly what Coach Abar has been looking for. 0-1 as that falls into the zone. Here's a pitch. 1-1. Trimble remains the starting pitcher. OA continues to have activity in the bullpen. Trimble with the offering. Inside once again, 2-1. Gonzamilo came up big on Saturday. 2 hits from the leadoff spot, a double and a triple. Swung through that, though, to make it a 2-2 count. When you're looking for the spark plugs as far as offense on this team, you think of Evan Zamilo, you think of Henry Burr. Of course, you had to think of Jack Giovanello after the last game as well. As he taps that out to the shortstop, who's going to throw to first, and it will be not in time as the first baseman was off the bag. Once again, good running by Oliver Ames, running those ground balls out. And as the first baseman, Matt O'Keefe, was off the bag, that means Evan is safe. Got to leg out those grounders. So if you're playing Little League Baseball and you're watching this game today, you're here in the crowd, there's 2 guys on base so far this game just because they ran out grounders. And there he goes. That will be Evan's second stolen base of the afternoon, as the catcher's not even able to transfer the ball from his glove to his throwing hand. And as Rago fumbles the ball, Evan gets his second successful stolen base this afternoon. And the Tigers are looking to manufacture another run here with some activity on the base paths. Outside, 1-1. Prescott back up again. Huge triple in the first. Prescott, the winning pitcher on Saturday. 5 innings of relief. Inside, about eye level, 2-1. And the Tigers looking to get back that run they just lost. Evan clapping his hands at second. Oh, he ripped all of that, but it was right to the left fielder, Griffin, for out number 2. Great swing of the bat there by Zane, but unfortunately it was hit right, about 5 feet to the right of the left fielder. 2 outs, runner on second. Giovanello back up. 4 for 6 on Saturday. Has 1 hit already to his credit today. Zamilo on second. He's got the speed. Just about any hit here into the outfield is very likely to score Evan. Here's the pitch. Curved, almost looked like it was going towards his head. But great pitch placement there for strike 1. Trimble trying to pitch himself out of a jam again. Evan moving around. Same pitch, but did not break the way the last one did, which makes it 1-1. 2 outs, Tigers up by 1. Bottom 5. Trimble shakes it off. Now looks back at Evan. Here's the pitch. Paints the corner of the zone for his second strike of the sequence. 1-2. Jack just kind of taking it in here, waiting for his pitch, but now behind, he's going to have to make something happen here. And Evan goes, and it's fouled off and out of play. Jack stays alive to fight for another pitch. 1-2, 2 outs. Evan on second. Trimble deals, and Evan goes again. And he slaps that into the gap, and that's going to fall for a base hit, and Evan will score. Here goes Jack for a double. The throw is not in time for a stand-up double. I don't know if I saw what I think I just saw, but it's almost as if Jack jumped and slapped that into the gap. I would love to watch the instant replay of that. Absolutely gutsy hit there from Jack Giovanello as he registers the double and continues his hot streak, and that will be it for Colin Trimble. Gave up 3 earned runs this afternoon, and to be honest with you, could have given up quite a few more if not for some very lucky outs for Foxboro. I mean lucky in the sense that there were some line drives that were hit right to fielders that turned into double plays. So Trimble will be out. We'll have a new starting pitcher here for Foxboro in a moment, and there is a defensive substitution as well, as guys are moving around, and so we'll take a look at what that is here in just a moment and give you all the information we can, at least from our vantage point. So Tigers up by 2, gave up a run in the top of the 5th where the damage could have been really, really severe, with 3 men in a row hit by a pitch. But yet Jack Devonshire locked in, was able to retire the side, only giving up 1 run. And the Tigers just clawed that run back here, bottom 2, with a runner on second and 2 outs. I'm looking over my notes here. We'll try to get you the information of who is at the rubber here in just a minute. The new pitcher for the Warriors is Trevor Franco. Trevor Franco in for Colin Trevor. Let's try that again. Colin Trimble is out. Trevor Franco is in. Trimble pitched 4 2/3 innings this afternoon. Struck out 3. Gave up 7 hits, 3 earned runs. So not a strong afternoon for Trimble. And again, the Tigers had an opportunity to score more if not for some of those ill-timed line drives. 3-1 Tigers. Tigers and Warriors split the season series last year, both teams winning the away games. Last year at home, Oliver Ames lost in a shutout 3-0 as that wind picks up again. Wow, a mighty gust. And it's going right towards the third base side of the field. It hasn't caused too many problems this afternoon, but you can definitely tell that the outfielders have had to really track some of those fly balls. Well, Henry Burr, cleanup, is up next with a runner on scoring position. 3-1, bottom 5, Tigers are up. Henry Burr at bat. Giovanello, who just hit the RBI, is at second. New pitcher, Trevor Franco. First pitch for Franco is in for a strike. Franco in relief for Colin Trimble. 4 2/3 inning work. Giovanello with a very generous lead. Burr will pop up. Third baseman is going to track it, but it's going to go beyond the playing field. And a long foul for strike 2. Burr quickly down 0-2. 2 outs to the new pitcher. Franco looking to close out this inning. Here's a pitch. Burr tags it again, but once again, a little bit early and foul. Time is called. Jack is working the base paths. taking a very generous lead as the Warrior second baseman stands behind him, clapping his hands. Burr stays alive. Henry Burr, so far this season, playing with the poise of a senior. Was on the big squad last year as a sophomore, now a junior. Well outside 1 and 2. And Jack was almost halfway down the baseline there. You have to wonder if he's going to go here at some point. Coach Abar over at third, giving some signs. Franco looks back. Time is called. Franco seems a little distracted by the runner at second. Here's the pitch. Burr hits that in front of the second baseman, who will throw to first, and that will be out, number 3. Well, the Warriors score 1, but then the Tigers score 1. So the Tigers remain up by 2 with a score of 3-1. We'll be back in a moment for the 6 here on ECAT. Back at Frothingham, it's cold, it's windy, but Tigers fans are happy. And the reason why is because the Tigers are up 3-1 here in the top of the 6 with Trimble, Griffin, and Hardiman up next, 4, 5, and 6 in the order. And Devonshire up for his 6th inning of work here. Pitched his way out of the jam in the last inning. Coach Abar letting him ride a little bit here. There's that pitch he's looking for there, 0-1. You got to admire the fact, I mean, Devonshire hit 3 men in a row. That could really rattle you. But closed out, well, the timing of that statement was not the best maybe on my part. And he's hit another pitcher there, or another man hit by a pitch rather there. And that may be it. But I do say nonetheless, as I was trying to say, you admire the fact that he was really able to stick with it despite that. Only allowing one run back in the 5th, but that will be a day for Jack Devonshire, and he can hold his head up high that despite some unfortunate hit by pitches, 4 of them in 2 innings, he still had a strong outing this afternoon and put the Tigers in position to win and would register the win as the pitcher if the Tigers can keep this thing going. New pitcher for the Tigers, number 14, Logan Horsman. This will be his first appearance here for the Tigers, at least at home as far as I'm aware. Horsman is a junior, and he'll be in relief for Devonshire, who had 5 innings of work. Final stat line for him today for Jack Devonshire will be 3 strikeouts, 3 hits, but unfortunately 4 hit batters. But in all, despite that, you really got to feel that Jack has put the Tigers in a position to win. You do have to wonder, too, and I'm just I was never a pitcher. I was a right fielder when I did play, but you have to wonder that curve that he throws that was so inside that really kept the Warriors guessing if a little bit of the wind, that very strong wind, maybe he was getting it a little bit too close to the inside of the zone, and the wind was just that little bit of encouragement to hit the shoulders of the guys as it did those 4 times, 3 in a row. But Horsman up now in relief, looking to close out these next 2 innings and give Oliver Ames their 2nd win in a row to improve to 2-1 on the season. So here we go with a runner on first, no outs. Henry Griffin at bat. He's 0 for 2 so far. Strike 1 as Logan puts it in there. Tigers up by 2, top 6. Need to register 6 outs here. Get the win. Slow pickoff attempt to first. More just to keep the runner honest there as Trimble dives back into the bag. 0-1 to Griffin. Again, Griffin looking for his first hit this afternoon. Here's a pitch. Quick pitch there out of the stretch. 1-1. Really good crowd here this afternoon at Frothingham despite the weather. Fouled off. 1-2. Yeah, the sun may be shining. The looks may be deceiving from home because the sun is out, which we're thankful for. But between that wind and the temperature itself, wind chill right now is around 35 degrees. Trevor looks again. Pitch out as the runner goes back, 2-2. Griffin looked like he was trying to call time there, but umpire did not see it. 2-2. Here's a pitch. Outside the zone for a full count. Logan Horsman in for relief. Inherited a runner on first. No outs. Tigers are up by 2. The pitch to Henry Griffin. Pops it up and is out of play. Can't see where it went. Went right behind us here. Couldn't tell where it went, but it is foul. Griffin stays alive, 3-2. Here's a pitch. Fouled off once again. Almost the same spot. And Griffin is making Logan work at this at-bat. There remains activity in the bullpen for the Tigers. Peyton Chan. Strike 3. Out number 1. Big punch out there for Logan. That's 1 out with 1 aboard. As I was mentioning, looking over at the bullpen, Peyton Chan is at work. He's a sophomore, and this would be his first appearance if he gets in this afternoon. Nick Hardiman up next. Hits that into the outfield where it'll fall for a base hit. And runners will advance. And that means there are runners on first and second with 1 out. Hardiman with his 2nd hit this afternoon. Good outing for him thus far today. Matt O'Keefe, he's up next. Outside, ball 1. O'Keefe is 0-1. One of the 3 batters who is hit by a pitch. 3 out of 4 batters in a row back in the 5th. Just outside, ball 2. Coach Abar's calling time to come out and talk to Logan. Again, this is a big spot for Logan. And everyone's going to talk about it here. And once again, the poise of the Tigers is going to be tested in this new season, as there's the opportunity for the Warriors to, well, take the lead. The go-ahead run is at the plate. And Logan, still inexperienced here in the varsity club, is going to get an opportunity in a tough situation to try to shut the Warriors down. 2-0, 1 out, runners on first and second. Tigers up by 2. Foxboro knocking at the door. Here's a pitch. Again, outside, 3-0 is the count. He looks, checks the runners, pitches. Right at the top of the corner, and hitter does not like that. 3 balls, 1 strike. Swing and a miss, strike 2 to Watts. Looking for another strikeout here. Here's a pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. You may be seated. As Brendan Watts was not happy about that, but missed. And that's strikeout number 2 for Horsman. Bottom of the order now, and Harrison Lamson is up next. He's flown out twice today, as Logan keeps his foot on the gas now for strike 1. Runners on first and second. 2 outs. Logan in relief. Well outside. 1-1. Logan came in inheriting a runner and no outs. Call time, and Jack and Logan are going to talk about it here for just a moment. But again, the new look Tigers that you have this year really can stand tall in difficult situations, and even with these younger players that don't have the experience on the big squad, a lot of them on JV last year. Logan looks, pitches. Again, outside, 2-1. Logan's pitching so far tend to be a little bit outside. Foxboro hitters aren't taking the bait. Here's a pitch. Strike 2 as Lamson's guessing there. Lamson looking for his first hit today, and Logan's 1 pitch away from getting out of this jam. 2-2, 2 outs. Runners on first and second. Here's the pitch. High, full count. Well, there you have it. Yeah, full count, 2 outs. The runners will be going on the pitch. Logan looks. Here comes. That is going to be foul just beyond the foul pole there and out of play. Once again, full count. That would be a place where the wind blowing towards the third base side certainly worked in Oliver Ames' favor as that pushed that out of play. Again, 3-2, 2 outs. Runners on first and second. Here's the pitch. Hit to the shortstop. Throw to first will be in time for out number 3. And Logan Horsman gets it done, inheriting a runner and no outs. And Foxboro, once again, is not able to convert with runners on base and leaves 2 men aboard. Bottom 6 coming up. The score is 3-1 Tigers. Tigers will be up in just a moment. It's a good time for our in-game summary. And our in-game summary is brought to you by Morse Insurance. Morse specializes in business insurance, home insurance, car insurance, and more throughout southeastern Massachusetts and the south coast of Massachusetts. It's Morse, of course. Well, it's been all Tigers so far this afternoon. And while the Tigers are only up by 2, the Tigers have had opportunities to have hung a few more on the board. And once again, as I mentioned a few innings ago, I think the outlook of the Tigers has changed as such. The fact that you're up by 2 and you think, wow, we could be up by more. It kind of tells you what the expectations are for the Tigers, or at least how the expectations are changing for the Tigers this year. Jack Devonshire had 5 innings of work this afternoon, scattered hits and hit by pitches around to ensure that the Warriors only scored 1 run. Colin Trimble had 4 2/3 innings of work for the Warriors. The Tigers were all over him in the first inning, with Evan, Zane, Jack, and Henry, 4 first batters of the game, all registering hits. Settled down a little bit, but then after giving up another run the last inning, Trevor Franco has now come in for relief, and it looks like Trevor Franco is still going to be the pitcher here in the bottom of the 6th. So that's your in-game summary, brought to you by Morse Insurance. It's Morse, of course. Again, both of these teams are 1-1 on the year. Oliver Ames' loss came from Mansfield last Monday in a 9-3 contest against a very, very strong Mansfield Hornets team. Mansfield may be the favorites in the Hawk this year. At least one of them. Bottom 6. Taryn Lawless is up for the Tigers. Taryn is a sophomore. Little tapper down the first base line, and it will be retrieved. Out will be registered, and that is out number 1. Tommy Regan back at bat, looking for his first hit of the game. Got on board with a fielder's choice back in the 4th. Tigers remain up by 2. Bottom 6. Here's a pitch. Called strike. That was inside. But strike 1 called. Here's a pitch. That's well outside. 1-1 is your count. Trevor Franco with the pitch high, 2-1. Franco deals. Hits that to the third baseman, who will retrieve it, throw to first. Gets back on the bag in time from the errant throw to register out number 2. 2 quick outs for the Tigers, and Levine is back up again looking for his first hit of the afternoon. Franco has quieted the bats of the Tigers here in his relief appearance. Levine hits it to center field where it's going to fall for a base hit. He's going to turn 2. Will he make it in time? He dives and he is tagged out for out number 3. Levine got 1, wanted 2, but an excellent throw means that Levine is out and that retires the side. Well, Tigers are up by 2 and need to register 3 outs, and this game is over. Let's see what happens. Stay with us here on ECAT. The Tigers need 3 outs, and this game is over. Logan Horsman is back in as he will try to close out this game. The bottom of the order, Harrison Lamson up first. And both sides are cheering their teams on. First pitch right down the heart of the plate, 0-1. Tigers looking for their first win in the Hawk. Help move them up the standings. Here's a pitch. Outside, 1-1. Currently, the Tigers are at the bottom of the Hawk standings, but it's early, and no one has more than, I believe, 2 wins in the Hawk so far. Inside, but called for a strike, 1-2. So I said they were at the bottom of the order. We're actually at the top of the order, and this is Anthony Rego, so pardon me for that. Outside, Rego does not chase, 2-2. So the 1-2-3 hitters are up, Rego, Stowe, and Jones. 2-2 count. Horsman with the pitch. Swing and a miss. You may be seated for a strikeout, and that's out number 1. Great pitch there by Logan. Great sequence. And the Tigers are 2 outs away. Aiden Stowe up next. Again, this is their all-star, the best player on their team. If you're Foxboro and you're looking for a timely hit, this is who you want up. He's got 1 hit this afternoon. Here's a pitch. And was hit by the pitch. And he'll take his base. So runner on first now and 1 out. Braden Jones at bat. Stowe, a lot of experience there on first. Be savvy on the bases. So there is some danger here. Logan looks over at first. Here's the pitch. Foul tip, strike 1. Again, Braden Jones at bat, the junior. Had a hit in the first, but has been quiet since. Logan looks and deals. High, 1-1. Oliver Ames looking to close out the game here. Up by 2. Runner on first. 1 out. Jack Devonshire would register the win this afternoon. Here's a pitch. Strike 2 called as Jones watches it go by. Both teams are cheering with all their might right now. Foxboro desperately wants to get into this game, and OA wants it shut down. Here's a pitch. Strike 3 call as he watches it go by. And Colin Trimble, the starting pitcher this game, will be the last chance for Foxboro to be able to stay in it. Trimble trying to keep them alive, and Logan Horsman trying to shut this game down. Logan looks. First pitch. Swing and a miss for strike one. Logan, with the exception of that hit by pitch, has been lights out thus far. And he's ready to close this game out. Here's the second pitch. Just a touch outside. 1-1. Colin pitched a decent game today. Probably didn't offer his best stuff, but is in a tight spot here trying to keep Foxboro alive. Swing and a miss for strike two, and Foxboro is down to their final strike. Logan Horsman looking to close out the game here. First save of his varsity career here on the line. Crowd at its feet. Popped up and out of play. Once again, count is 1-2. Crowd at its feet, partially because everyone's cold, but mostly because they want to see OA win this game and finish it off. Logan with the runner on first. Swing and a miss for strike three, and that's the ball game as Oliver Ames is on a 2-game winning streak and improves to 2-1 on the season, beating the Foxboro Warriors 3-1. Congratulations to Oliver Ames for their second win of the year. Great game all around, and looking forward to extending that win streak to 3 this coming Wednesday. And speaking of Wednesday, the Tigers will be back in action on Wednesday against the Canton Bulldogs. Tune in at 3:45 p.m. for the first pitch. You can check eastoncat.org or our Facebook page for broadcast updates and channel assignments. Thanks to today's crew, Jack Kay, guys on the camera, we appreciate it. This is Adam Rivero signing off from Worcester Field. The final score, your Tigers 3 and the Foxboro Warriors 1. We'll see you on Wednesday here on ECAT next time.
ECAT's production of OA Sports are provided by Morse Insurance, Weinstein & Keach, we sell real estate, Michael Associates, Ltd., the Easton Lions Club. ECAT would like to thank all the sponsors for support of producing OA Sports.